Hello my friends and welcome to Paulina Art. Today I'm going to be painting this beautiful composition of the flower of the month of February, the violet. This video is inspired by Donna Dewberry's series Flower of the Month. I've learned how to do the one stroke technique watching her videos and I'm a big fan of her work. As usual, I'm gonna start by doing my background, and because I have my pattern sitting right on top of my paper, I know exactly where the colors are gonna go. I'm gonna do this painting on watercolor paper. This is gonna be acrylic paint, so you can recreate the same on canvas or on acrylic paper. I usually paint on watercolor paper unless I'm doing a painting for a client. I want to leave enough room at the top and the sides and at the bottom so my flowers are right in the middle. This is what I choose for this composition. So I'm going to measure the edge here and it's about 2 inches. So I'm going to remove my pattern. I'm going to leave it on the side. I'm going to leave my pattern on my Facebook page if you want to download it. I'm going to leave a link below to my Facebook page and you can download the pattern if you want to do it. I marked both sides and I'm going to do a line so I know where the ground, where my pot is going to. We're going to start by painting the background, and I have this sponge with me. This is the tool that I'm going to use, and I wet it a little bit and I dried it with a towel. Because I'm working on watercolor paper, you can do this on canvas too. I'm going to lightly spray it with a little bit of water to make the paint flow easier. Just lightly. I don't want it wet. I just want it lightly sprayed with water. I feel that's going to make my paint flow a little bit better. I have my colors here. I have orange and yellow and white. And this is how I'm going to do this section of the background. So I'm going to start with the orange. I'm going to dab my sponge in there and I'm just going to start doing just soft little circles with the orange color, because I know this is where the bulk of my pot and flowers are going to be. Now I'm going to add a little bit of yellow on the other side of the sponge, the yellow that is mixed with white. I mix both the orange and the yellow with a little bit of white just to get a softer version of the colors. And this is how I'm going to do this, the back part of this composition. I'm just going to go around with the sponge and blend it a little bit. And that's done, my friends. Now I'm going to use this brush that you all know I love to use. This is a Real Techniques crease brush. It's a makeup brush. But with this, I'm going to finish my background. I'm going to wet my brush and rinse it. Try to get most of the water out. And I'm going to lightly dip it on my vintage white and try to remove the excess. And with this, I'm going to soften up what I've done here a little bit. If you want, you can do a few little circles, which I think I might just do some in here, just to make it a little more fun. That's the main thing when you paint, to have fun. Enjoy what you're doing and have fun with your painting. Be creative, Don't be afraid to try new things. If I want to see how my background is looking and if I'm happy with it, all I have to do is put my pattern back in there. This is going to give me a really good idea how my composition is going to look like. And I think I'm happy with that. Okay, doesn't have to be perfect. We don't want it to be perfect. We just want to give an effect. Okay, I'm going to rinse my sponge because we're going to use it for this part here. Now for this part of the painting is where the pot is going to be sitting. So I want to create maybe a little bit of a wood effect. For that, I'm going to mix a little bit of my white with a little bit of purple. Maybe create a soft lilac. And then I'll add a little bit of brown too. I'm not going to mix it really well because I want to create a wood effect. So it's okay if it's not totally mixed. And with my sponge, again, I'm going to dip my sponge in there, and I'm going to, this time I'm going to go in a horizontal way to create a wood-like effect. I can leave some areas showing a little bit of white, and maybe I'll add a little bit of, darker brown in some areas. Just like that. Maybe a little bit of purple. Okay, and what I can do as well is I'm going to mix a little bit of dark brown and purple, some of my dark brown and purple, and create this kind of a color, a purpley brown. I'm going to add a little bit of my blending gel so it glides easily. And maybe I will add a line to create more of a wood effect. That's what I'm going to do in here. Just like that with my angle brush, and another line. And that's going to give me more of a wood effect at the bottom. And I can add a few lines like this. Some of the lines that the wood naturally has. Because I'm working on watercolor paper, this dries really, really quickly, pretty much dry. When you're working on canvas, you're going to have to wait a little bit, but remember that these layers of paint are very light. So our next step is to place our pattern in here, and I'm going to try to line up the back line to my back line and decide exactly where my pot is going to go. And I want my pot right in here. Okay, my friends, I'm going to tape it in here so it won't move when I'm doing my transfer. I have my carbon paper in here, and I'm going to go ahead and trace my pot into my background. I have traced my pattern onto my background. The first thing we're going to do is we are going to paint this pot white for the simple reason that we can see all this background, and acrylic painting is very translucent and we don't want to see this background. So I'm going to go ahead and paint my pot white. I can leave some of the lines so I know where my pot is instead of just a big white blob. I'm going to leave some of the lines that define my pot in there. Okay, so now the pot is, I'm going to let it dry, and I'm going to paint in here in between the flowers. I'm going to use some green just to cover all the yellow spots. We don't have to go over with white in there. The green is dark enough that it's gonna work just fine. So with the same brush, I'm gonna go ahead and paint some green. And I'm just gonna dot it like this. I want it to look like more so like greenery than just a solid block of green. Now we're going to start doing some of the leaves, and for that I'm going to use, for the leaves I'm going to use this angle brush, number 6, and the brand is Midin. The way I choose my brushes is I see if it's going to work, if the width of the brush is going to work for the size of my leaves or petals. My leaves are going to have green, white, and a little bit of purple. When I put my brush in here, then I know that my white is going to have to go on the toe of the brush, and the green and purple are going to go on the heel of the brush. So the first thing I do after I wet my brush and remove the excess water, I'm going to dip it into my medium a little bit, and I'm going to pick up my main color, which is going to be green, and I'm going to cover my brush with the green. Then I'm going to add a little bit of white on the toe, just like this, and then just for fun I'm going to add a little bit of purple on the heel of the brush. So I have 3 colors in my brush. I have white, green, and purple. And I'm going to start by doing this on the leaves on the back. I think that looks very pretty. I'm going to move it around because this is easier for me to do it this way. Then I can go like this, do the vein of the leaf. I'm going to do this one. That looks very pretty. I'm going to leave that one just like that because these ones are going to be on top. I'm going to do this one now. I'm going to finish it in here. They're all going to be the same. I always start from the back forward. Painting that way works the best for me. Okay, we're going to do this one. This one is going to be on top of that one and that one. Okay, and this leaf is going to be folded a little bit. I'm going to add a little bit more purple on the heel than green, just to show the other side of the leaf. See, like that. Okay, my friends, so I'm going to paint all my leaves off camera, or some of them, and I'll be right with you. I'm going to finish the outer ones anyways. Okay, my friends, so I've done all of the outer leaves. I have not done the inner leaves. We're going to wait until the pot is painted, just because I feel it's going to be harder to try to paint the pot around it. Let's go ahead and paint the pot. This is going to be a clay pot, and I'm using a very bright orange just because I want a lot of color and impact on this painting. So I'm going to go ahead and paint the whole pot orange. The shadow that is going to go from the pot and the leaves, we're going to add it now. A little bit of the shading in here. Okay, I like it. I think this is looking very, very pretty. While all this part is drying, we are going to do maybe this little violets at the top. And for that, we are going to use this angle brush. Is the number 4, is a Midin number 4. And we're going to use the one stroke technique. And I want my violets to be darker in the center and lighter on the outside. For this reason, I look at it and I realize that I need to put my white on the toe and the purple on the heel of the brush. So I'm going to dip my brush in a little bit of my medium, and I'm going to pick up purple, and I'm going to pick up a little bit of white on the toe. And I'm going to do some of these violets hanging this way. Violets have 5 petals, and I'm going to try to keep that in mind when I do my violets. But these ones are hanging that way, so they're going to be a little more, it's going to be a more loose interpretation. Here we go, my friends. While all this dries, I'm going to go ahead and paint these leaves. I'm going to do this one on camera so you can see it, and it's going to be the same as the other ones. I'm going to pick up a little bit of medium, not too much. Then I'm going to pick up my green, and I'm going to put the green on the brush. I'm going to put the white on the toe. I'm going to move it around so it doesn't get mixed up. I think I need a new plate because this one is getting very messy. I'm going to pick up more green, one darker green in the center, and a little bit of purple as well in the center. I think that just adds a little something. I'm going to put the dark part in the center of the leaf and the light towards the end. Okay, I'm going to do this too off camera, and I'll be right back. Okay, my friends, so I finished all the leaves. The leaves are all done. And now I'm going to do our violets. I'm going to use this brush, the number 4 Midin angle brush, which is the same one that I use to paint the top ones. And I have a fresh palette. That's always a good idea if your paint starts getting muddy and dry. Get a fresh palette, which for me are these disposable paper plates. I'm gonna do all these little flowers in here, all these violets, and I'm gonna try to remember that they have 5 petals. Okay, my friends, here we go. I want them to look a little bit imperfect with movement. To finish these beautiful violets just like that. Some little vines coming out. Add some lines to the leaves. Another thing you can do is pick up a little bit of white with your liner brush, very wet, just like this. And you can add some highlights on some parts of the leaf. Not everywhere, because then you're going to lose the effect, but in some spots where the light might be hitting it. Okay, my friends, we are coming close to the end, but we're gonna do one last touch, and that's gonna be to add yellow to the center of our beautiful violets. So with my liner brush, you can use a Q-tip as well. I'm gonna pick up my pure bright yellow, and we're just gonna add some little dots in there. Now there's one more thing that I'm going to do, and I'm going to do that off camera. That is adding some splashes of color around where the flowers are. And for that I use this big old round brush, and I make it really, really watery. And I'll pick up some of my purple paint like this, make it extremely, extremely watery. And I'm going to splatter some purple. I have to do this on the sink, otherwise my house is going to be splattered with paint. But I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you give this painting a try. I'm going to leave the pattern on my Facebook page, and I'm going to attach the link on the description box below. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you had fun. And if you did, you know what to do. And we'll see you on the next one. Thank you so much for watching.